Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we have something extremely cool to take a look at. As you've probably seen in the past, although it's been a little while, I do tend to stray from the dinosaur reviews at times and review cryptids as well, and I am a gigantic fan of pretty much anything cryptozoology-wise, so knowing Safari LTD had a few cryptid figures out, I was completely sold. Even before I had actually seen them, I knew I wanted to get a hold of them and own them and add them to my collection. So I am happy now to report that I have a few to actually look at with you guys, one of which is this one right here. This is the Safari LTD Sasquatch. It is an absolutely beautiful version of a Sasquatch here. In person, I am completely and in every possible way impressed with this figure, and it's awesome to have Safari LTD creating cryptozoology figures, cryptids, and everything, and starting with the most famous, potentially, of all time, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, is awesome. Before we go any further with the review, I did want to remind you guys that I actually have a code thanks to Safari LTD that is exclusive to my channel. If you enter the code Andy at checkout on the Safari LTD website, you will gain yourself the incredible discount of 20% off. So a huge thank you goes out to Safari LTD for supplying us that code, and make sure you use that code to get yourself a really nice discount if you purchase any Safari LTD figures today. And again, kind of sporting that very nice pose, almost looking like Patty, who is probably the most famous Sasquatch of all time. I think that was a perfect choice on the part of Safari LTD as far as the pose of the figure. But again, detail-wise, paint-wise, everything looks really nice here at first glance. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Sasquatch, you can see that the head sculpt is really beautifully done, sporting the very nice sculpting of the lips right there, as well as the nose. I think the nose is very beautifully sculpted. The actual hair detail on the face as well is really incredible, and they've done a great job of really making that hair detail pop by dry brushing it with like a nice brownish coloration, as the primary body is like a very dark brown, but they have like a lighter brown, and they've dry brushed the hair detail out really nicely, making it look extremely nice and natural overall. You can see that the eyes as well appear to be painted with blackish coloration. There we go, now we can see it's very small, the eyes, and they're kind of back there within the eye socket area, so they're a little hard to pick up on with the light not perfectly shining on them, but we can see them pretty nicely right there. As we move up here into the head, the actual skull shape looks really nice. You have that kind of cone shape to the head, which is something that you would also expect to see as far as a Sasquatch goes. Beautiful hair detail the entire way around as we continue to look at the entire head sculpt of our Sasquatch. Again, just looks really beautiful in every area. And again, having that really cool like look of Patty is awesome as well. It's almost like Patty now has her own figure, just with a few minor alterations to the overall appearance, but it's also really cool that they've chosen to give it kind of that same appearance of Patty when she was walking away and looking back at the camera. Very cool idea to give it that type of a look. You can also see as we move down here into the body, the very broad shoulders of our Sasquatch, but also some really nice musculature in the arms as we move down into the arms. And you can also see some patches of fur that are just a little thicker, kind of sticking off the body here and there. There is the hand sculpt, which is awesome looking. The kind of palm of the hand and everything looks great, really nicely done in that area. I love that. And then if we look at the front of the hand, if we can find a way to get to it, there we go. You can see that that as well looks really nice, and even the detailing within the fingers is beautifully shown here in the sculpt on the part of Safari LTD. You can also see some very large pecs on our Sasquatch. Again, you would expect this animal to be very muscular. You can also see, if I can get this tag out of the way here, the very nice detailing of the musculature over here on this side as well as we move down into the arm. Again, the elbow is present, some more of that kind of fluffy fur right there, fluffy hair I mean. And then moving down into the hand, on this side you can get a better idea of what that hand looks like on the outside, and it looks really, really beautiful on both sides. Very nicely detailed is the area of the hands of the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. Moving down into the body further, you can also see some more very nice hair detail right there. As we move back here into the behind of our Bigfoot, you can also see that the fur detail, the hair detail looks really nice and kind of shaggy the further down into the body you get. As you get down here into the legs, you can see it gets really kind of fluffy and shaggy down here a little more reckless, I would say, as far as the way that the hair is kind of laying on the animal. And I think that was really cool to have kind of a more calm and like formed look to the hair up there, but then a little bit of a more wild look to the hair down here, just giving it some variation, making it look really cool overall. And you can also see the musculature within the legs here, even shining through within the hair of the animal. And there is the Bigfoot, I guess you could say. Beautifully sculpted as well. I really love the sculpt of the feet of the Bigfoot. I think Safari LTD has just nailed it as far as this Sasquatch, this Bigfoot figure goes in every possible way. They have just done an incredibly good job on this figure, and they've taken Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and just completely knocked it out of the park with this figure. A truly phenomenal looking Bigfoot figure. As far as a size goes on our Bigfoot, from the ground to the top of the head, you are looking at about 5¼ inches or about 13½ centimeters, somewhere within that range of 13.5 centimeters. There's not really going to be too much else that we'll probably get a good measurement on, as it's just mostly the height of the Bigfoot at this point. So for a size comparison, here are two figures that I recently used in the Safari LTD Jaw-Snapping Tyrannosaurus review. This is the Safari LTD Carnegie Collection Amargasaurus, as well as the 2020 Safari LTD Ichthyosaurus, next to our Sasquatch, our Bigfoot figure here. And next to these figures, you'll hopefully have a pretty good idea of the size of the Bigfoot. It's not anything that's super large. It's also not anything that's super small. I feel like the size is actually really nice overall. So a great job in pretty much every aspect. So this Safari LTD Bigfoot figure is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I am incredibly excited anytime I get a chance to look at or add a new Bigfoot figure to my collection, and Safari LTD making one is just incredibly cool. So once I had initially found out that they were making one, again, I was so excited for it, and having it here now, I am incredibly excited. I, of course, prioritized the dinosaurs over getting this figure this year because I just really wanted to get a hold of all the dinosaurs for the 2020 line, all the prehistoric figures. But now that I have officially reviewed all of the prehistoric figures from Safari LTD, I did want to grab some more of these cryptids and get reviewing these. So I did get a few of them, and I now again have this Bigfoot here, and I could not possibly be happier to have this in my collection because the sculpt is just beautiful overall. I think they've done a great job of really capturing the essence of Bigfoot within the sculpt and paying tribute to, again, Patty with the pose of the Bigfoot walking along, just giving it pretty much that picture-perfect, iconic look to Sasquatch walking. So the pose as a whole, I think, is just the perfect pose for a Bigfoot. And the actual fine detailing of the sculpt as well is really nicely done. They've done a great job of sculpting out all the hair detail and making that hair detail really pop with the coloration that they've used, giving it different tones of browns because the primary body color is a dark brown, and then they've kind of dry brushed certain areas over with a lighter brown. And they haven't done a sloppy job at all as far as the paintwork on this figure goes. And I think the way they've dry brushed that lighter brown over top is really pretty much perfectly done because they haven't given it like a strong dry brushing. It's like a light dry brushing. So it all generally looks very realistic as far as the hair detail of the Sasquatch goes. And they've also done a tremendous job of kind of sculpting out details like the musculature kind of shining through the hair and that very nice cone-shaped head to the Bigfoot, really paying attention to all the aspects of Bigfoot that we are familiar with. So Safari LTD overall, I think, has just done a tremendous job on this Bigfoot figure. And if you are a fan of cryptids like I am, this is pretty much a must-own. So I will include a link in the description to where you can go ahead and pick this up on the Safari LTD website right now. So I want to remind you guys one last time, if you are going to pick this figure up or any other Safari LTD figures, make sure you use the code at checkout. Use the code ANDY to get yourself 20% off. A huge thank you to Safari LTD one last time for supplying us with that code and that discount. So make sure you head over to the Safari LTD website, pick up this figure or any others, use the code to get yourself a really nice discount, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.